Hello guys, welcome to the Wings Mobile Detailing Podcast. Detailers and professionals who are looking in the field or getting into the industry of detailing, if you're new to it, or if you're an experienced detailer but looking to know how to do paint correction, full paint correction, without wet sanding. I'm not considering wet sanding here, but I'm going to cover that as well. But you guys are going to learn in this podcast, in this short few minutes, how to do a full paint correction. What do we mean by full paint correction? Because a lot of people have different definition by it. Is transforming a car's paint to a glossy mirror-like finish. If they have swirl marks on the cars, or we call it surface scratches, not scratches that are through the clear coat, because obviously those only come out with repainting it. Because if it's through the clear coat, you gotta reapply clear coat to repaint it in a way. So you guys are going to learn in these short few minutes how to do that through compound polish, which pads to use, which products to use, the method to use, tips and tricks, and learn overall via audio. If you learn via audio, this is going to be great, because otherwise we do have video on YouTube. But let's cover this while you guys are working or doing something else. Pay attention to this podcast, replay it. Let me know what you guys think on the review. So let's go to a short introduction, as we always do, and I'll be right back.
Welcome to the Wings Mobile Detailing Business and Automotive Podcast, the only podcast that will guide you on how to start and grow six-figure companies. As our team expand from one business location to worldwide domination, you will get step-by-step insights from a millennial franchisor and franchise owner with your host, Andre Mezzalera.
Here are the ways that I've noticed, and I've had experience using, doing paint correction on multiple different cars, from exotic cars to more intricates. I have found a lot of different detailers who use a bunch of different methods to do paint correction, and they're all correct, they're all good. But the method I use, I'm going to explain to you guys how I come up with this method. What I was looking for is come up with a method of doing a full paint correction where I wouldn't need to carry around my mobile detailing van 100 different types of polish pads, 100 different types of compound products or polish products. I wanted to look for one set that can be used on all cars and still get an amazing result, the result that I expect, which is near perfection. And if you guys are experienced or hard-headed and are thinking, oh, there's no way, you cannot have one works for it all. Well, I'll tell you this, it worked. So it worked, and I got what I was looking for. Obviously, there can be easier ways, and I'm here to tell you guys step by step how to do it, and using this method, this pad combination, product combination, and the steps in between. How to do in this short few minutes. We first start with washing the car. Now, washing the car when doing a full paint correction is crucial. It is crucial that you get this part correct, this part right. Washing the car the right way, decontaminating the car. You want to go with soap, scrub the car off, apply degreaser to break any surface dirt from the paint. You want to get paint naked from any type of dirt or surface dirt you cannot even see. So you wash it with degreaser, scrub it really well on the undersidings of the car. You'll make sure there's nothing there. Spray the pressure washer really good in between the crevices with degreaser before to let it break down all the surface dirt. And then wash it, and then do the clay treatment. And actually, we'd like to do the Iron X first, right? So we wash the car and rinse it again. Do the Iron X everywhere. Apply Iron X as much as you can. Let it sit for a few minutes, for about 5 minutes. Rinse the car off from the Iron X. That's going to break down any iron contamination, as the name says. And then you will apply... We start doing, after rinsing it, we start doing the clay bar on the car, right? Or clay mitt. I like to use the clay mitt, medium grade clay mitt. You can buy it on Amazon. So that one already worked works, guys, but you gotta make sure that the clay is done well, the wash is done well. Perhaps in this step, even after you clay it, perhaps you might see some tar on the vehicle. You might still see that. So look around the car after you clay. Look around, make sure there's nothing there. If there is, use a tar remover. Make sure you get the glass really well, and then you dry the car. Get the chamois out there, dry it, and when you're doing a full paint correction, it's ideal that you do in a garage with plenty of lighting. That's definitely going to help you to see the result and save you time, because if you're looking for flashlight on the car, and park inside the garage so it's not in the sun, or it's not underneath trees and it's dropping shit on the car while you're doing all the process of correction. So you park the car inside. You wash the rims already. Everything is completely neatly clean. You did the tar. And now what you want to do before is the isopropyl alcohol. Now, why are we doing the isopropyl alcohol if we're not doing the ceramic coating? Let's say we're not doing ceramic coating, right? Or we could, but still do the isopropyl alcohol, because you're going to remove any oils that's perhaps left from the soap that you used, or the soap while you're doing the clay bar. Any oily residue, the isopropyl alcohol, it's gonna break down the oil residue, and you're gonna have the isopropyl alcohol with you, because you're gonna use that as you remove the compound from the car and go to the next compounding or polishing step. You're gonna always to have that isopropyl alcohol with you. That's a huge tip. Huge tip from me. Now, after you do the isopropyl alcohol on the entire vehicle with a clean microfiber rag, you have rags with you, you're going to start the first step. The first step of compounding that I like to use on the car. And when you get to this step, make sure the car is completely dry also. If you have a small blower from Amazon, you can buy that. Make sure you get all the water from the crevices underneath the mirrors, because it sucks when you're compounding the car and then you have water dripping off and it mixes it with the compound, and it doesn't work quite well. So make sure it's completely dry. With the compound, your guys can so the pad we do use, I'm gonna go over all of them before I go step by step. So I start off with the first step of compound, which the product is the Ultra Cut compound from Meguiar's. I really like that product. You can use different ones, different brands. They are all compound. They are all abrasive. I like the Ultra Cut compound from Meguiar's, but if you guys like a different one, if they are compound, at the end of the day, they're going to have this close to the same amount of cutting power. If you're getting another brand. One may be more liquidy than the others, one may be more dry. So the Meguiar's Ultra Cut compound is it's actually a little bit dry, but it's fine. I like the dry one, because if I feel like it's way too dry to use it, I can just spray some water in the pad, right? And I use the Meguiar's microfiber cutting pad, right? And then the second stage, I use a Lake Country. The brand, I like the orange pad from Lake Country pads. It's the orange pad, and I use with the Ultra Finishing Polish from Meguiar as well. The third step, I like to use the black pad. Now, with the black pad third step, if you guys are not going to do ceramic coating afterwards, if let's say you guys are not doing ceramic coating and just, let's say, sealant or wax, I definitely recommend at least a sealant. But if you guys are not doing a ceramic coating, now the third step, you're going to use a black pad with the 3D HD speed. I like that one because the 3D HD speed is going to give it another thin polish and also add a layer of protection in there, right? And then you can go to the fourth step with applying hand sealant to the car. If you like to use a power lock, it's a great sealant. So now, if you guys are doing a ceramic coating afterwards, let's say you do a full paint correction and then follow up with ceramic coating. Then the third step, you're going to use the black pad still, but instead of using the 3D HD speed, which has sealant on it, we don't want to use sealant before applying ceramic coating. We don't want any sealant on the car. So we just want to use another polish. And what we use is, again, the ultra finishing polish from Meguiar's. So the same one you use with the orange pad, you repeat the third step with a black pad, which is more soft than the orange pad, but you repeat and you use the same product. So that is great because the black pad is very soft. It's not too soft as the white pad, because the white pad, if you're doing polish, it might break down because it's way too soft. And you're still going to get a really great finish with the black pad. A very great thin finish without leaving any micro marring on the car. Now there are ways to not leave micro marring. So let's go step by step on how to do the full paint correction. Now you guys know the pads and the products to use. Starting off back, let's start step 1. Microfiber cutting pad from Meguiar's and the Ultra Cut compound from Meguiar's. We're going to start off. The car is completely dry, clean, isopropyl alcohol, done. We like to start on the hood. We put about 4 dime-sized dots on the microfiber cutting pad of product. And we make sure to season the pad first. So what season means is that all the microfibers from the pad, you want to make sure all those fibers has product in them, because if you put just dots here and there, you might not be able to spread well. So when you first start off, you want to put about 4 dime size or even more. You want to put a lot of product at first, a lot of compound on the pad. Make sure you rub the product with your hands. Make sure you're wearing gloves also. So you're getting your gloves in your hands and you're spreading the product all around the pad really well, really nicely done. So all the microfibers from the cutting pad has product on it. And then you start on the hood of the car. On one half, you're going to do the entire half of the car. Start on the hood and you use on speed setting 3 to just to spread. You're going to use on the dual action buffer. The dual action buffer I like to use, believe it or not, I don't like to use the Rupas very much. A lot of people prefer the Rupas. I try to like that machine, but I still prefer the Griot's Garage dual action buffer. It's less expensive, but I really love it because it's smaller and I have better control. That's me personally. Speed setting 2 or 3, I spread the product quickly on a panel of about I would say 2 feet by 2 feet, on the hood. Not the entire hood, but 1/4 of the hood, or a panel that I cannot show you guys through audio. But I could have very well measured, but I don't know the exact. So you spread on speed setting 2, the product on there. Real quick. It's going to take just quick spreading, and then you go back and you put on the speed setting 5.5. That's what I like to use to do the compound cutting. Now you guys are going to work slowly because this is not a rotary buffer. This is a dual action buffer. You're going to work slow, up and down, side to side. And you're going to perhaps only need to repeat once. But guys, on speed setting 5.5, and you're out working under a garage with plenty of light, you are working slowly with the buffer, side to side, and then up and down, repeating the same. Work slow, guys, and watch out the pressure that you put on the backing plate. So when you're using the dual action buffer, you guys probably seen videos to where you don't want to have, if it's not a first rotation buffer, if you put a little bit more pressure than necessary in there, then the backing plate's going to only vibrate, but it's not going to spin. And you want to make sure that thing's spinning, because otherwise it's not working. You want to make sure to see that spinning. Leave the pressure, work your way to see that thing spinning. If it's not spinning, lose a little bit on your hands, less weight. If you see that spinning too much, you can force it down, put a little bit of weight more there, but work up and down, up and down, up and down. And then you've done that once, and then you repeat. with the machine still on the paint, right? Side to side. Then you repeat that twice. And as soon as you finish that, you have ideally you want to have a brand new microfiber towel and wipe off the compound. You don't want to leave that compound in the paint. Wipe off the compound right away. Get it really good there. And the result you should have with the microfiber cutting pad and ultra cutting, the cutting compound, the result you should have right then and there is you have an even surface, an even scratched surface. Because you're actually scratching the car, right? You guys know what you're doing when you're doing compound. So you're actually scratching the paint in a way, thin scratches. So you want to make sure you see a little bit of oxidation. Not from oxidation because there are micro scratches there, right? But you want to make sure you see that evenly, right? If you see some scratches here and there that are a little bit deeper, maybe you can try again on those. But if you feel those scratches are through the clear coat, don't even worry about it because they're not coming out anyways. So make sure you have an even scratched surface. And then what I like to do is test step 2 and step 3 on that same panel just to make sure that you had a good amount of cutting with the compound before you proceed on the entire car, just to test that area. But then you're doing the entire car first with the compound. If you're working solo, which that would be a lot of work, but if you're working by yourself, you do the compound, the first step entirely, and then you move to the second step, right? Because then you change the pads. You don't have to worry about changing back and forth. So you continue with the compound. Now, when you do it again, you're gonna put more product in the pad, about 4 dime-sized amount of products back in the pad. You don't have to massage it again, season the pad again because it's already seasoned from the first one. And then you go and do it again. But in between, before you put product back in the pad again and continue with the second panel, you're probably still doing the hood, right? Obviously, because you did only a little portion of the hood. You're going to have a brush. You're going to have a brush to clean the microfiber cutting pad, the cutting pad. You're going to have that brush from Chemical Guys, the great brush, a stiff brush. And brush it really hard to get all the dust off and bring the microfibers up, to bring the fibers from the cutting pad, really bring it up so that it's ready to go, because it's going to be smashed down after the first. You do that every time. So every time you're going to be doing that. Now, it's going to save you time by doing that, because if you compound one area, put more product, compound another area, put more product, the pad is going to be so squashed in that it's going to be thin. It's not going to work on the paint, and you're just going to be wasting your time compounding the car, and it's not working well because all the pads are in. So, and you need multiple pads to do the entire car. Just the microfiber cutting pad, you need a minimum of 3. You can do it in 2, but really to do a good job, just order, and you have at least 3 pads with you, 3 cutting pads, because by the time that you get to a quarter of the vehicle, a third of the vehicle, you're gonna probably need to change, because you're gonna use the brush and the fibers are not gonna come up. Now, repeat the second step. Brush the pad, put 3 dime-sized product, repeat up and down, side to side. Buff it off, again the compound, and start checking, make sure all the corners, everything is looking great. When you're removing the polish with the microfiber rag, put some eraser in there, some isopropyl alcohol, spray it on there, because it's going to help you remove the compound. And this step is very important, guys. Listen up, because a lot of detailers, they don't know about this, and this saved my ass before when I was doing a full paint correction on an Audi R8, a black Audi R8. I told you guys this story here before. We're doing multiple steps of compounding. The client decided to allow us to do that. So we were just doing multiple steps of compound in the car. And when we're on our third step. By step, I mean doing entire car compounding. A third stage, that's what I mean. On the third stage of compounding on that car, we spent all day, 14 hours on that car. On the third step, we were compounding it or polishing it, and we weren't seeing any difference. And what I realized, I thought about it, what I realized why the polishing wasn't working anymore, because we had so much oil residue from the first and second stage that when we're to the third stage, we were polishing on top of just oils that's on top of the surface of the paint. Oils from the compound that we use on the first and second stage. And that's why it's important to use the isopropyl alcohol. And that's what we did. We used the isopropyl alcohol and polished again, and then voila, it just came out, start working again. We saw the results. It was like, man, a simple thing. So when you're removing the compound from the paint, always make sure your rag has good isopropyl alcohol in there. Spray directly on your rag. Now you guys can go to the second stage. After you compounded the entire car, the glass, you can compound the glass as well. The windows, the windshield, the back glass, the roof. Obviously, you're never doing it on plastic. I hope you guys know about it already. So you do the entire, the crevices, all the corners. Make sure the backing plate is always spinning. That's very important. Go to the second stage now. This is the stage with the orange pad and the ultra finishing polish product from Meguiar's. The orange pad is the Lake Country pads. Now that one, you season the pad again with the product. It's the same exact thing. Same exact process as the compound. So this is quick, right guys? You just repeat the same on the entire car. Do the glass again. Or if the glass are not that bad, you can just do the glass on the last step. You don't have to do the compound and the just a tip of mine. You don't have to do the compound of the glass or the windows. It's gonna save you time. Unless the glass has a lot of water spots, and then just do it all. Just make sure you get it all. And then you move isopropyl alcohol as you're removing the product so the car has no oil residue. So as you're doing each step of compounding, each stage, compounding, polish, you're not leaving any oils on the paint. The paint needs to always be naked. Naked from any oils, from any products left in there. You don't want anything, so that each stage can work perfectly and you're hitting it directly on the paint, on the clear coat of the car. You move to the third step as well. Oh, by the way, guys, you can also use the brush in between each step on the Lake Country pads. It's a foam pad, right? But you can always use the brush, not too much to not tear it apart, but you can really scrub it down to remove all the product residue from the pad in between each step. So the third stage now is, if you're not doing ceramic coating afterwards, the third stage, you get a black pad, season it with the ultra finishing polish again, and hit the entire car. The third stage is also important that you guys don't rush. You guys may have a tendency to rush. You are using a soft pad. The car already looks really good by now, right? And you may think you don't need to do a third stage. And you might rush a little bit thinking that, you're fine. You can rush it off. Now, if you do rush, this is what's going to happen. If you do rush, meaning if you go fast with your dual action buffer on speed setting 5, now the third step, you lower the speed of your machine, because if you do a too fast speed or fast on your hands, try to rush it, you're going to have micro marring on the paint. Micro marring is a nightmare because you can, if you're indoors with not much light or even light indoors, and you do the entire car, it's going to look perfect. But if you rushed, it's still going to look perfect. And if you bring the car back outside in the sun and you look on the side panels, on the side doors, you're going to see like little curtains of scratches. Looks like curtains. The light is blending it. Those are micro marring. Tiny little micro scratches. That's done. That happens when you go too fast on the last stage of finishing polish. And then you create micro marring. Personal experience, guys. Don't do that because you're going to take your time. Taking your time is crucial. Reserve if you're working by yourself, reserve 2 full days to work on a car if you're doing this type of correction. If you're doing ceramic coating, reserve at least 3 days. But reserve for full paint correction 2 days so that you can take your time and you don't leave micro marring. So go slow, take your time. Very, very, very important. Or if you're applying ceramic coating on the car, the third stage, as I said, you're going to use a 3D HD speed. And same applies, Now, with the 3D HD speed, when you're applying the car, polishing the car with the 3D HD speed, you can leave it a little bit so you don't have to remove the product right away. That's a plus because there's sealant on the HD speed. There's some fillers and products in there. That's protection, sealant. And you always, when you're applying wax or sealant on your car, you always want to leave it a little bit in there for it to adhere to the paint. So you don't have to remove it right away, right? You do a one panel, put more product. You don't have to brush the pad as often because it's thinner product. Do another panel, put more product, do another panel, and so forth. And when you do like 4 or 5 panels, maybe you can go back and remove the product and then you continue. So it's going to be much faster because you don't have to keep buffing off the product with a rag from there. You can leave it there. And some people might think if you did an entire 3-stage paint correction like this, obviously it's way better to do a ceramic coating afterwards, right? Because you spend so much time and energy on doing full paint correction, you might as well have a great protection. But sometimes clients don't want to pay for that, So I would recommend, after doing that, 3-stage with HD speed, I would recommend that you guys do follow up with a coating of sealant. Paste sealant, apply with another pad or by hand. And the one I recommend is the lock from the Power Lock sealant. It's definitely a good one. So apply that to make sure the paint is, really, really well protected. I always like to apply that as well on the glass, on the mirrors, windshield. Apply that as well because you want to see water beading. After all, you polish the glass, with all the stages of or1. So make sure everything is done. Doing that, guys, you are not going to run through any problems. The only problems you might run into when a client requests a paint correction is if you see a lot of chips on the car, a lot of deep scratches. Now, that's your responsibility to inform the client. The client are not supposed to know, guys. Take responsibility, and it's your responsibility to inform the client before. Set the expectations before you start doing the service, because most likely you're charging them a lot of money to do a service. It's a big service. So explain to them, hey, these are chips. Or I like to explain to them, hey, overall, it's a full paint correction. It is, because I'm confident that I can make that work. We've done a lot. So I tell them it's going to look like mirror finish. It's going to look like a glass. The shine is going to be incredible. And it's a true correction. Now, these scratches right here, I point out, that's how I tell the clients, the more deep scratches here and there that you see on the paint, they're not going to come off. But they are going to blemish a lot. The entire car overall is going to look great. The swirl marks are going to disappear, the surface scratches. Now, these deep ones here and there, they will stay there because it's through the clear coat. And that's only by reapplying clear coat, which is repainting the vehicle or those parts. But they're definitely going to blemish with my paint correction. It's definitely going to look a lot better. But I just wanted to inform you, the client, that these scratches right here, these bigger ones here and there, deeper ones, may still be there, Now, I hope this was really helpful, guys. And for any one of you who has patience, I'm gonna do a quick conclusion on what we went through with important points of what if you guys are patient and want to continue to listen to this podcast, please do. I know I don't like to repeat myself very much. I'm working on that, so I'm not repeating too much on a podcast. Now, please subscribe, leave a review if you deem this was helpful. If anybody's interested in starting a business, a franchise with Wings Mobile Detailing, you're going to save a lot of money and already have clients on your calendar and make money and profit from having clients and start your own business. So if you already have a business, even better to start with us. And you're going to receive clients on your calendar, secretary full-time that we are, training videos for your employees. So when they start with you, they already know everything because they went through our on-demand private training videos that we have for Wings Mobile Detailing Academy. That is included as well, guys. It's going to save you time training your employees. So be part of the franchise.wingsmobiledetailing.com. Now, I want to repeat myself on the conclusion of this podcast to make sure you guys really get the important parts of pin correction, and I'm going to try to speak fast here. Very important, number one, to prepare the car. Prepare the car, wash it deeply, degrease it, decontaminate. There's no bug. Literally, it's got to be no bugs, especially no surface dirt on the car. And isopropyl alcohol to remove any oils. When you do, then full pin correction, take your time. Do panel by panel, preferably indoors, panel by panel, and take your time on each stage. Do not rush. Schedule ahead of time at least 2 full days. On each step, when you're doing the cutting compound, you use the brush to put the fibers up. And when you do about a third of the car with the first stage of compound, get another microfiber cutting pad because the first one's probably already going to be, the fibers are not going to be working as well. Get another one, wash them later, but get another one and wash them later, guys. So the second step, when you're in between removing, use the isopropyl alcohol again. That's another very important factor. Always use isopropyl alcohol, which is the eraser that we use from Car Pro. The second stage, you repeat the same thing. The third stage, you repeat the same thing. And make sure you take your time also on the third stage, on the second stage, and on the first stage. It's very important on all stages to really take your time. Now, if you guys stay here, I appreciate that. So I'm going to give you another special, important, you guys have to know this. When you're compounding or polishing the car and there's corners, you guys probably know this, but if there's corner, do not ever put your buffer against on a corner because it's going to create so much heat and it's going to burn the paint, even with a dual action buffer, because the corner is like all the heat from the pad is usually supposed to be spread out on the surface. But when you put that against the corner, especially the middle of the pad, you're going to create so much friction. That friction is going to create heat, and the heat is going to burn the paint. So do not do that. Use the sides. Use the corners of the actual pads to work in between those corners of the car. Guys, thank you very much. Subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. Leave a review. And if you're interested, again, I appreciate you guys staying here. The review is definitely going to be helpful. If it sucked, please let me know that it sucked, because it's also going to help me. Thank you.